All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Single Mothers Foundation podcast. Somebody said, I think 2 episodes ago, that I didn't introduce myself.
Yeah, you didn't.
I didn't. Ne?
You just got into it.
Right. Guys, my name is Zanele Ntungwa, and I am your host for today. And Mhlobab, I've got a very lovely guest. Guys, you know my guests are special. My guests are, top tier. Like, my guests are very close to my heart. So, a brief story. Remember how we met?
Who can forget?
So, me and Sake are in the same industry, right?
Yeah.
And then we met a couple of times, like briefly.
Yeah.
And then I remember the one time we were at a Medicross. Dinomko.
Oh, Sinomko.
Got there and I was like, I don't know this girl well, but yes, Anna Mamela, listen.
Yeah. No, that was peak Mko for you. Like, you know, when you've got Lamko where you want to tell everybody everything.
Everything, and then you just get it out of your chest.
Yeah.
And then you feel better. And also, people must be on the same page as you. We get you.
Yeah.
But anyway, my friend, please introduce yourself because I don't want to spoil it and introduce. Where you from?
What I
Her
do.
name is Sake Maji. Yes.
It's an interesting one. I'm smiling now because I think 2 years ago, around this time, I was on another podcast and someone asked me, who are you? And I kind of froze because I was like,
There was a lot of changes in your identity.
time. But now I've learned to introduce myself. My name is Sake Maji. I am from the Eastern Cape. I still consider myself from the Eastern Cape in Queenstown. I am energetic, enigmatic, funny. I think I'm funny.
Of course.
I am full of life. And I'm also a mother. I am one of 3 kids born to my parents. And I'm a last born and only girl. So, no.
Are you
not
spoiled?
Like that. No. Guys, can't introduce into families that actually spoil last borns.
So your brothers don't spoil you?
No. My brothers don't even know I exist half the time.
Oh, no.
That's the
Or do they spoil you but you don't recognize it because it's not your love language?
Maybe. I think they're very big on doing things for me to make my life easier.
You see?
Like if I've got a punctured tire or whatever the case is,
They'll
sort me out. But it's not like they're going to be calling me every day to find out how I am.
No.
So I guess that's where my bad habit comes from of not returning people's calls. But yeah, and I am also a digital content creator, not in the traditional sense of the word, and the most important one and the one that's closest to my heart is that I'm a mental health advocate.
I know, and that's why that's the biggest reason why you are here today, because this season, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's been so heavy, because it's about mental health. And I think and speaking for myself and mothers that I've been able to interact with, mental health is an issue.
Yeah.
Being a mother on its own is difficult. Being a single mother is worse. And already as people, we've got our own things, we've got our own stresses. And I think now that you've mentioned it, I'd really like us to just go into it before the single mother side of things, because I believe that it started before.
Yeah. So that started before anything else, actually. I think now that I think about it, I've always struggled with mental health. It's just there wasn't words. I think we grow up thinking certain things are normal. Because when I grew up, if I was too stressed or something was happening and I was overstimulated, I just used to sleep.
Okay.
Shut down, shut everyone out. And everyone's like, and only when I got older did I realize that was my way of shutting out the world from anxiety, because I was thinking 3,000 things at the same time, trying to find solutions for things that don't necessarily need solutions today. And so now that I think back, I've always had challenges around anxiety. And we just don't have the words.
Yeah.
And we don't have the words because people are not telling their stories. Because what do you know about anxiety if no one's ever told you what anxiety is?
And I think in our culture, it's sort of like, what are you talking about? What is
nerves?
Nerves. What's wrong? What's stressing you? I remember my sister, she never used to understand the whole mental health thing. And she would often want to know what happened, what's wrong. And I had to break it down to her that sometimes nothing is wrong and you can't explain it, but you just have a low. Or you were just in a panic and you just think the worst, 0 to 100, you think the worst case.
Imagine.
Yeah.
And I think people need to realize that there's not always a cause. There's not always like this thing that happened and this thing now resulted in you feeling this way. However, when I now had to come face to face with mental health, was something did happen. So my mom got sick when I was in varsity. It seems a small thing, man. She wasn't like sick, like dying. She just got sick and she got hospitalized. And all of a sudden, I started spiraling out of control. Couldn't get out of bed, couldn't go to school, couldn't write exams. And there was nothing wrong with me.
And how old are you at that time?
Couldn't do it. I was 19.
Okay.
And so a friend of mine said, I just think you need to go to the doctor and talk to them about what you're feeling. And I thought, go to a doctor to talk about my feelings. Don't delay. Like, what do I get there and say? Like, hi, doctor.
I'm not feeling.
I feel sad. Yeah. Those things. And she was like, no, don't worry. I'll drive you to the doctor. You'll go see them and let's just sort this thing out. And I remember the very same Medicross we met at. So, and that's when I started my mental health journey. And the doctor just let me know it's normal. It's just you've let it go on without ever checking with anybody. And so I started going on medication then. And that was even taboo then.
Yeah.
That was the early 2010s. And from then onwards, it was a struggle. I'm not going to lie. Being on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, and being at varsity and trying to fit in and trying to find your place in the world. But looking back now, it's probably the best thing I've ever done for myself because I then got to understand. You don't learn what is anxiety, and when you live with it for so long, you don't realize that there's a world outside of it. Like there's a world without it. It's not your thing. It's not your thing to panic in the middle of the night or to overthink things and think and think and think. And I don't know, like it opened a different world for me. And at that point, the anxiety had gotten so bad that I was diagnosed with insomnia. So I'd go 3-4 months without sleeping or until like 2 or 3 hours in a day, and I'm still at school and I'm still expected to, function. So it opened a new world for me. It was a different world. But as you said, I think articulating it to other people was the shocker. For me, it really was, because people just didn't chronic. Like, hi, man, you're chronic. It's like anyone else would take pills for everything else, but I don't know why people feel like the brain is not part of the body, because you would take a Panado for a headache. You would take your anti-diabetic medication for iswekile, but as soon as you try to explain to someone that you're on anti-anxiety medication, they're like,
and also I think with mental health issues, we would look at people that are on the streets picking food from the bin, and that
they don't look like you.
Yeah, and that's where we would leave it. But no,
can't be me.
Yeah,
and it's like, I mean, you work in this world. Even diabetes starts one thing at a time, then it becomes something else.
Yeah,
then it becomes something else. So you don't. Those people who are unfortunately living that life in the bins, not of sound mind most of the time. It didn't start there.
It didn't start there.
It did not start there. And I think that's what I'm getting to realize is that there's so much happening in our lives, and it's constantly happening, that it's very easy to find yourself there if you're not taking care of it now. You know. So yeah, so mental health for me has been really a journey of ebbs and flows, and it changes most as life changes. And I think I might as well get into it now.
Yeah.
When I got married,
Yeah.
it got even worse.
Sure.
You know, you would expect it to get better, but it got worse. And that is because I was constantly thinking about things that I shouldn't have been thinking or doing or feeling at the time. But and then I thought, man,
Eh.
right.
I'm happy. Life is good.
Yeah, you know, life is looking up. And I forgot that even that phase of my life needed to be taken care of mentally, because I suffer with mental illness. I am not losing my mind. I don't have schizophrenia. I don't have this, but mental health is a spectrum.
Yeah.
It's not ndifikile ngoku ndiserenkini ndifuna itaxi eya PP.
Yes, and I get there and I've arrived.
And then I've arrived. No,
you don't arrive.
You don't. There's no place where you're saying, okay, now I'm cured of anxiety. You will always have an element to you that is anxious. It's just that, you know, there's points in life where it's better. So in the points in life where it was better, I thought I'm good. Right? And you know what? I can't need, yes, beliefs. And I think you know this journey of my mental health, you know, post having a child.
Yeah.
I had postpartum depression like nobody's business.
You know, when you mentioned postpartum depression, because I also had the same. I had the same with my son, but because I was still in varsity, I didn't take much of it. And I remember with my daughter, because I had already also started anti-anxiety and antidepressants. And you think, okay, good, right. And then you fall pregnant, you give birth. Oh my gosh, there was a time when I wanted to swallow her. Because it was easier. Number one, I can't sleep properly.
And uyakhala wena.
And
you want my attention, like me.
I also want to cry. And
like Mascal, so you do. What about Mascal? So you do.
Right. And I had moments when I would just cry.
Yeah.
I would just cry.
I mean, we all have differing experiences with postpartum. I think there are some people who are like, some days it was difficult to get out of bed. And then, you know, I had my community or whatever. I had my mom with me when I gave birth. And like,
yeah,
I didn't identify with being a mother. Like, okay, there's a child here, but like, what is he doing here? I don't know. I always say mental health distorts your view of what's going on, right? So to me, it was like, he's here to make my life difficult. He is now here to change the way I was doing things and how I was living my life. And he's now coming in to change my marriage. And oh my gosh, you know, and it was just constantly thinking about how bad my life was going to become now that I have a child. And even then, I didn't think about, I need to go to the doctor.
So when you had your child, had you stopped taking medication?
Yes, okay. I had. Because life was good. Life was good. And when I was pregnant, I hadn't had the conversation with the gynae.
Okay.
Because, I mean, even my story of falling pregnant child, by the time I got to the gynae, I was well past my first trimester.
Okay.
So everything was just happening so fast that I don't remember saying to the gynae, hey, Pastor, my medical history, or part of my medical history is that I've got mental health problems. We always, they were asking, how many surgeries have you had? What is this? You know what that is? And I just did not mention it. And I don't know if it was an element of being, what's the word? I think it was still taboo to myself, even though it was was well into 10 years of this mental health journey, I still had certain people that I didn't like for them to know that I had this problem. And I didn't like people who I didn't know to know because
it's your thing as well. And it's like now you're stripping yourself naked and
in
you're
front
just
of people. And also, I mean, I kind of look like I have it together most of the time.
Right.
Now there's this thing that's
something's wrong with you.
Something's wrong with me. And people can see now something's wrong with me. So I didn't tell the guy. I don't remember telling her up until I went for my 6-week checkup and she said, it's not quite right with you. Like, you're not the same. And that's when I was like, oh, well, let me tell you, girl. Andilali, Andiji, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't getting out of bed. My child would cry during the night and I thought, your son, nah. Why? I wasn't emotionally connecting with him. He wasn't my child, he was everyone else's child. I was just like, and I was recovering from a cesarean section. Naleyo yenye all together. So yeah, for me, it was just postpartum was the light switch. And I was like, okay, madam, you need to take care of this. There's an issue. And funny enough, that's how I started then my social media journey with mental health, because I was trying to look for people who were like me. I was trying to look.
And you don't find them.
You don't. Wonkum's got their little baby and they're like,
and they look
beige
good
things and there's an
cute.
aesthetic and see a breastfeeder and we are smiling.
We are pumping breast milk and
I'm like, I want none of that. I want someone to tell me, I see you. I'm going through the same thing. And I couldn't find that at the time. There was nobody. There was absolutely nobody. And then I decided to be the somebody.
Yeah.
So that's when I actually, for lack of a better term, came out about my mental health. That's when for the first time I actually owned it. And I was like, hey man, denial away, and I've had it, and let me tell people about it, because if I show them, then there's nothing to be ashamed of anymore. Yeah, so that's how it all started.
Okay. So you got married, had a baby, quite cute, sana. Very nice. Very nice. And I always say that we obviously have this perfect picture of how our lives will turn out. Baby number 1, baby number 2, bigger family, house, the pool. Very cute. But God always has a different plan for us. Yeah. And unfortunately, we don't see it when it's happening that, this is God's plan. We normally see it in retrospect, but okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But while you're going through it, I remember when you called me, I had just given birth as well.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
And they were like, Mamela Gemfazi, let me just quickly tell you, they are divorced. And I'm like, what?
The shock of your life. I just remember you going, huh?
And I was lying in bed as well. I remember that day very, very well, because when I looked at you and your ex-husband, you had it together. Yeah. And I remember when we came for your birthday to your house to do the paint and sip, and like a man, very nice family, very accommodative. And nithanda abantu, niyaba welcome abantu. Nice, niyahleka, nibizana chomi, kumandi. And then that journey obviously had to start, and now you had just dealt now with postpartum, and you're like, okay, right? And then
you look up.
Yeah.
And you're
somebody actually said life, it's like you're going through grade 1, and then you pass grade 1, then you go to grade 2, and you think, I've passed grade 3. Now grade 3 happens, and unfortunately your marriage comes to an end.
I think mnandasuka ku grade 2 kwathiwa in fact bhali exams.
It's got grade 7.
Because hey, I mean, you're not wrong, hey? I always say to people, my marriage was not all bad all the time. It was really a good time for the most part of it. And then there came a time where I realized that things were changing very quickly between us, but my marriage was not a safe space for me mentally anymore. So people always ask, oh, what's happened? Like, did he cheat? Did he do this? Did you cheat? Did you whatever? I didn't get divorced for the reasons that other people get divorced for, but I do believe that it is the reasons that people don't talk about. It's that constantly having to think about things, constantly having to make decisions, constantly having to remind somebody to be psychologically safe for you. It's constantly having to, remind someone, I'm going through this, I'm doing this. And it's not easy to be with someone with mental health issues.
It's not.
It's not. So I can sympathize with that. But for me, it was really like getting to a point where I realized it was either I was going to lose myself completely or I was going to have to live with this for the rest of my life.
Sure.
And so when I will say I made this decision, not lightly. It was, when you get married, as you said, man, it's a constant thinking it's going to get better. It has to get better. God has more in store for us. And you keep praying and you keep doing, and you're fasting, and you're quoting the Bible. And no matter how many times I quoted the Bible and I prayed and I fasted, the answer was the same. And so that point of reckoning for me was like, so what do I do? It's not going to get better. What do I do? At that point, I was at the maximum doses of anti-anxiety medication. I was on maximum doses of depression medication. I was on sleeping pills. My prescription a month was close to 2,000 Rand.
Sure.
Just for those things. And I had to sit and say, all right, girl, like, how long have you been in this perpetual state of umgo? Like, umgo waka awupheli, and what is it about lomgo wako ongapheli? I mean, I'd been to, at this point, I was on my third psychologist because all of them were telling me things I don't want to hear. Yeah, but Landwa is a psychologist, but there's a root cause.
Yeah, what is it?
And you dance around the root cause.
And sometimes you make excuses for the root cause.
Excuses for it, and you're like, it's just, this, so it's that. And remember the last psychologist said to me, my sister, if you are not willing to face the problem head on, because a problem, we found it, but you're just not willing to face the reality, you will be in this perpetual state of umgobo for a very long time because you're not willing to be honest about it. But we can park that. There's also the idea that marriages are work. And there's patches. You rough patch, man, nomtu am lena, and this is about right. So, ngoke rough patch 2 years. Okoni rough patch.
Yeah, it's dragging.
It's you all prayed out, and I remember just praying a small prayer. It wasn't an elaborate prayer because I'd prayed the elaborate prayers and nothing had happened. And I just said to God, all right, I'm going to make this decision. And if everything works out, then I know you've got it.
Yeah.
And I remember going home and calling Pila. I hadn't spoken to her in a very long time. She's an attorney. And I said, Pila, my dear, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And she's like, okay, I'm on it.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. Then I called you guys, my friends, and none of you said, none of you asked me why. You were just like, we'll talk about it at another stage, but right now, what do you need? And I remember my one friend, Uliolo, saying to me, no, come live with me. Let's just come live with me. We'll figure it out as we go along. And so it was then when I realized, okay, this is the plan that God now has. But it's not the biblical plan that, iten le plan inje. Excuse me, I was willing to stick it out. I was willing to make it work. I was willing to be in a thriving marriage in inverted commas. And all of a sudden, this is the reroute. Iten le reroute ka God inje.
And why is it painful?
Why is it that? And I then started to realize that many other plans of man. There's a verse in the Bible that says, many other plans of man, but it's a plan of God that prevaileth much. Because zazininzi plans, but they were not prevailing. And this was the one that was actually working out. So even though I had the trust in God, and even though it was a difficult point in my life, I did not quite anticipate the mental impact that it had. I measure cost. It's going to be a very, very long road ahead of me. And that road needed me to be mentally fit. And kisana, mentally independent at this point. So, I'm not going to say that it was easy. I am not going to say the pills were working. At some point, I was just like, 1.7 every month to make sure I'm breathing, eating, sleeping. And on top of it, I have to be a mother. On top of yonke lento, like everything that was happening, the demise of my marriage, me coming to terms with it, I now had to mother. My child was in my house, and I had to be his mom. And that, for me, was probably the worst thing that I've gone through.
Sure.
Because I'm constantly cognizant that there's someone else here, so I can't go through my full spectrum of emotions. Because I don't want my child to see me angry. I don't want my child to see me crying. I don't want to be snappy at my child. I don't want, all these negative emotions where he can be exposed to them, but I don't want him to see it every single day. And to make matters worse, I still have to show up at work.
And get our job, ne?
Okay.
No matter what you are going through, you must be happy.
Ube happy.
You have to be happy.
Regardless, you have to smile.
You have to smile.
You have to be nice.
You have to be nice, give compliments.
You have to, yazi. A friend of mine once said, I think you guys dance in and out of insanity on a daily basis. And I'm like, actually, there is a degree of insanity to what we do.
No, it's a very, very, emotionally, put everything else you are going through aside. The type of a job itself
just requires you to be stable.
It requires you to be stable, to be sane. And in fact, I have yet to find somebody in our industry that doesn't have a coping mechanism.
And my coping mechanism became my job. Because I could leave everything and pretend to be somebody else.
Okay.
Because I'll get them when I get home. But when I got home, there's also the mothering part of it that I had to do.
Sure.
So for those months on end, that's why I said when we started, I struggled with the idea of who am I? Because I was dancing in between 3 or 4 different personas that I had. Going to church. Now I'm no longer Mamu Ban. But I'm also
You're not sis Ban.
But also and your youth. But in the youth, so there's that.
And ingxaki zakho.
Azizoze youth.
Azizoze youth. Azizoze mama.
No one gets it, you know.
Yeah.
So every little community that I built for myself out of being married and stable, I didn't have that anymore. I didn't have friends anymore because some of them were married, and it's like, all of a sudden we issue in other people's marriages because galoko.
What if?
We're now at divorce. And what if you are now spreading the propaganda of divorce? And the only thing I had for a very long time was that community of people that I created when I told them about my mental health issues. And those were the only people I could go back to and say, hey, bafethu, kushobile. This is where it is, and this is what I'm doing. And there was also a therapist that I had gotten through work, or the resources they gave us at work. And she really was great, you know. She had found the middle point between being a therapist, but also being a woman of God and guiding me through that path in that way. And so sometimes we would sit and talk about my issues, and sometimes we would sit and pray about my issues, and sometimes she would let me know, but it's still going to be tough, babes. It's still going to be tough. And I remember calling somebody, and as I was talking to them, you know, on the phone, I'm starting to tell people what's going on. When it started, I only told you and a few other people. It wasn't a lot of people. And so when I started talking to people, someone then said to me, yo, I know God hates divorce. And I thought, that's all I heard. That's all I heard.
Yo.
That is all I heard. And I thought,
yo.
God.
And God just said, I can do this. This is.
But also that's what is in the Bible. He does.
Yes.
It's like now there was that internal conflict.
And also there's no way God would make you stay in a marriage that did not serve you. And that was, for a lack of a better word, breaking you.
Yeah.
Because he's still, Christ died for us so that we may have life to its full abundance. Now, if you are not having life in abundance because you are thinking, God hates divorce, God is our dad, God is our father.
And there's nothing we can do that he doesn't know about, right?
Exactly.
There's nothing that we can do that he doesn't know about. But in that moment, having the mental health issues that I had, having the additional stresses that I had, you know, paying for lawyers will stress you out, all right? Paying for lawyers will stress you out.
Can we just talk 2 minutes financially?
I learned a cent at that point, financially. You know, when our parents said, "I sent them daka." Yo! Clean because I had to distribute my funds now. And that's the other stress that I had. So remember I said there were a lot of other things that now all of a sudden fell onto my plate. Because even if Umtu was financially contributing less than you were used to that contribution. You were used to the idea that there's a certain part of my life that I don't have to pay for. Or there are certain bills that I don't have to pay for. All of a sudden, I must find my own place to stay. Batala rent, batala mans, electricity, groceries, this, that, and the other. And the only thing that person contributes is half of what your child needs.
And also, your son then went to stay with your parents.
Yes.
And I think that gave you relief.
So I think I've always been one person who advocates for not mothering or soldiering through personal pain, because that thing reflects in your child. And children know when mama's not okay.
Yeah, they do.
They know.
They know. And they carry that with them as well.
For the rest of their lives, right? And I think we need to figure that out, is whatever it is that you're going through, your child is also going through it with you, but their coping mechanism and their outcome, you won't see it now. You will see it 5-10 years later.
It's like childhood traumas.
Childhood trauma yomntanakho. Yabona? So my mom was always crying. So I decided never to tell her about my problems. You know, those type of things. So when I go through something, and I've always done it, I am, and I'm not saying it's the right way, but I'm always cognizant of taking my son out of it. No, but it's for 2 months or a month or a week or a few days. I want to take him out of it because yes, mommy struggles with mental health issues, but mental health issues, mama, shouldn't be your burden.
And I always say, as a mom, you need to be good. You need to fill your cup so that you can be a better mom. And society has this narrative that the child must stay with the mother.
There was uvuka nabantwana bakho there's no way
especially
I'm
when you have help
and rising up with my child because my weight in the fall is going to be bigger than his. If I'm falling, then it means Naya he's automatically falling. Nyuka, it means he must also automatically be okay. You know those things where we assume kids should go through the ebbs and flows of life with us. They don't have to do that.
They don't have to. But I think I must give you your flowers, my friend. But I really do commend you for that. And now also there is your child is now staying with the dad. And I believe you guys are co-parenting. While you've reached out of the ups and downs, because we don't have much time left, out of the ups and downs, you guys are doing it well. And again, you are probably judged because how does your child go stay with the dad?
Ukhona
as a mother.
So it can always be a conversation for another day.
Yes.
But my child does live with his dad, and it's purely because, and I always want people to know that sometimes what's best for your child is not what you can give them at that point. So my child needs stability because he's been through changes. In as much as I've gone through the changes, he's also gone through the changes. So he needed a stable home, stable in the sense that I travel a lot. I'm working, I'm studying, I'm still only now trying to find myself. I'm also now starting to be outside. And so all of those little things that are happening in my life would have been, disturbances in his life. So the stable parent at the moment is his dad. It was difficult, a bit difficult to swallow, and as I can say, it can be a conversation for another day. But the long and the short of it is I still want him to grow up as a whole person.
And I mean, he's a happy chap. He's amazing. He understands what's happening. He's happy. He's happy. And I think what's important, I always say my goal as a parent is have happy kids.
Absolutely.
Everything else follows, but I just want to have happy children.
And I think from getting divorced, it showed me that there's two things can be true at the same time. You can love your child and you can have them not stay with you. Because it's not good for them, but it's also not good for you. And it's not conducive and it's not workable now. It's not to say that this is how life is always going to be. Maybe it might, but my child is happy and my child knows, every weekend I'm going to be with my mom. On holidays, I'm going to be with my mom. And for now, that's what's good for him and not necessarily me. So I think I would like to have another conversation about it, but I think...
No, you are definitely coming back to me because we are going to have a whole session about co-parenting.
Because I think women put so much unnecessary pressure on themselves to show up every single day. And there's no way we can do that all the time at 100% every single day. And when you do need help, even if it's the person that it didn't work out with, if they are the help that is available.
And it's okay. And it's their dad also. It's their parent.
And so, yeah, that one was also a mindset shift. And I think, we can get into it when we do the co-parenting thing, because I think everybody understands this point where now all of a sudden the person you're trying to get away from is the person that you must now co-parent with. But, we're not always the best people for our children for many different reasons. And until we can fix that, and as you said, fill our cup, then we can show up and not be our kids' childhood traumas.
No, very important.
Very important. Land.
Yeah. Your friend, time went by so quickly.
Sana.
It went by so quickly. But I'm going to say thank you for honoring this. I mean, I called you, I think it was like on Wednesday. I'm like, friend, please. And you were like, say no more, come on.
I'm here.
Yes. But thank you so much. And I think what I am taking away from this is that we need to fill our cups. And when we can ask for help, ask for help. Because I think as mothers, and it's not necessary. When you can ask for help, ask for help. And yes, it may have ended with the dad, but it doesn't mean now the child must suffer because of your feelings. You know, you need to work it out. And I mean, you are the reason why I actually even started therapy. And I mean, we'll get into that another time. And I felt like, I remember calling you and saying, friend, I started therapy and I feel like a different person. I feel like a new person. And also when you feel good, then you can be a great parent to your child. But thank you so much for sharing your story. And I really do pray that it touches somebody out there to make the necessary changes that they need to make in order to be able to fill their cups. But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you next time. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Guys.
I've always wanted to say that.
We are on a road to 100 subscribers.
Hey. Let's go.
Yes, and also, I mean, our analytics are showing that we are having more views than our subscribers. So please, guys, I used to hear people saying it's free of charge. Guys, it's free of charge. You just click subscription button and then you join the family. Yeah.
I think I also still need to subscribe. I'm on it.
You will subscribe. Yeah. Last words, two-liner.
You take care of yourself in all ways. Mental health is not as taboo as we need it to be. And if you are not the best person for your child, ask for help. Do not become your child's childhood trauma.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.